Hello, YouTube and my fellow Americans, and welcome to this state of my miserable life. Anyways, listen, this is going to be on the um, Pulse Nightmare, Pulse Nightmare, the Pulse nightclub shootings, the anniversary of it, and it's going to be on Trump oppressing LGBTQ people, removing more rights from the LGBTQ community, and on why it's time to finally tax these religious zealots, these fucking religious zealots. First off, I want to say, before I even go into that, and there's the commentary, watched for about a second and tuned out, asshole. Anyways, um, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for your 5 seconds of watching me. Really a lot of time to figure out if you liked anything I said. Anyways, this is going to be on the night. Let me start with the Pulse nightclub shootings. This to me is tragic. It's an example of transphobia and homophobia in America, and it's also another reason why we have to tax these damn fucking religious institutions and these damn churches. Now, in this case, this was Islam. But I do want to say this: I'm not a fan of Islam, but that's over there. That's not over here. That's over there. And had we left it alone in relative peace, would have been pretty much no threat to us. But we go in and we have went in due to these corporations and banks, and we have bombed them, and we have bombed those people, and we have stirred up what amounts to a hornet's nest. And they're refugees, a lot of them, and they come here and they come in here not only with religious zealotry, but a lot of them don't like us because we've invaded them. And we did this to ourselves. And we bombed them. So if you lived in one of those countries, and here's the thing, and why you can't completely blame those people for some of their attacks, this is not one of them. This was a hate crime, in my opinion. But if you had to live in a country where somebody was bombing you and your children was scared every night, and you didn't know, they didn't want to go to school the next day because they didn't know if an American military plane was going to bomb their school, would you want to live in that country? No, you would want to come here, or you would do whatever you could to get the hell out of there and go somewhere, and that's what they did. So I don't necessarily blame them. And also, like I said, it's over there. It's still ultimately over there. Christianity in America is the fourth column. It's done more to harm the human species and harm the United States and harm the Western democratic way of life than any other institution. If it was up to me, I would tax the churches overnight, and you would watch most of these hate crimes, along with most of the religious sexual crimes that you see in these churches, go away. They would go away very fast. What it is a scam, and they scam and prey upon the weakest among us, and they scam them out of money, and that's what they are. And even when they go overseas and help some people in some other countries that ultimately need help, it's always a catch-20, and they always get back a greater investment than what they put in. And they're building up a church and building up people there to give them money. It's all about making money for these people, and that's what it is. And they do that in Africa and all over the world. And they also are against abortion. They're against birth control, and trying to regulate or keep down the population of the world so that you don't have this much starvation. And they don't allow abortion because that means more fucking people that can join the church, and more people that can give them money. And then they take that money, and the ironic thing is, the more anti-gay they are, the more fucking likely that they're going to use your money to fly to Thailand and bang a transvestite. I mean, pretty much, let's be honest, they're going to take your money, they're going to fly to Thailand, and they're going to bang ladyboards. That's what they do. And that's the good ones. The bad ones screw kids. And a lot of them do. Believe me, a lot of them do. So I would tax the churches overnight. I would take away their tax-free immunity. Or at the very least, I would the political ones, and the ones that want to get involved in politics and tell gay people who to marry. Or tell transgender people what bathrooms they can use. Because you're now leaving the realm of the spiritual, and you're entering the realm of political. You're leaving God's world and entering our world, and that is not tax-free, and that is not protected by any constitutional law, and you should be taxed. If you want to fucking throw your hat into the political arena, you should pay your fair share like everyone else. And if you can't do that, then you should you should pay your fair share like anyone else. If you can't do that, then you should shut up. But that's kind of my opinion basically about religion and politics. Even if you look at a group like the Klan or something, you can say what you want about them, but even they pay back into the system. These people don't even do that. And I don't care if you're talking about radical Islamists, evangelical Christians, or even Zionist Jews. None of them pay their fair share. And they're ultimately political is what they are, and it's a fucking ridiculous thing. You're not talking religion anymore, you're talking politics. And if you look at the Bible, even the Bible says, do not combine religion or politics, and they do. And they do it quite a bit. So beyond that, going one step further, let me say that I think that if you look at the nightclub shootings, you also had an ultra-Orthodox Jew in Israel once, not that long ago, who busted up a gay parade in Jerusalem and killed gay people. Or at least, I forget if he killed anyone, but he attempted to kill gay people at a gay parade. Now, this was a similar crime, but less severe, but it does happen. And you've had many other Christian shootings and things in this country against gay people and hate crimes committed. So it's religion. And that is why, actually, I harken back to Aleister Crowley, and he said he would exhaust all of the magical powers that he had obtained up until that point to destroy Christianity and to destroy religion in the Western world, and to hopefully spark what would amount to a worldwide revival of paganism. And I too quote that I will exhaust myself in my activities and my activism trying to spark a worldwide revival of paganism, and that is very important. But also moving forward now to Trump, and speaking of not taxing churches, one of the people that gave many of these churches, by the way, a tax-free exemption at the same time he was taking away hard-earned, hard-worked for rights from the LGBT community and other people and others, including you, I'm sure, and myself too, and workers' rights and other things. At the same time he was doing that, he gave the churches tax-free exemption to talk about politics, and because he knows, and the reason for that is because he knows that most of these right-wing American churches, especially in the South, are telling them to go vote for Trump and vote for the Republican Party. So it's a political move on his part, ultimately. And he once again puts his ego and his fucking thirst for winning and beating out the rest of us ahead of the betterment of this country. And he's doing that, and he's doing that without question. So he did that, and now he's after already having kicked transgender people out of the military, and after having done a number of things, after he said, by the way, he would be the best friend the LGBTQ community ever had. And a lot of people took him at his word, and people wanted to believe the best about him, including even me. And he even used this as a way to bash the Islamic religion, and he bashed Islam when it happened. But now he's coming out, and he's basically once again, and to commemorate almost the Pulse Club shooting massacre, and it's no coincidence, I don't think, that he did it to the day of the damn anniversary of the killing. He has now taken or stripped rights free from transgender people, healthcare rights to help transgender people. So he does that, and he's bashing LGBTQ people, and he does that, by the way, on the day of the Pulse nightclub shootings. And he also did not light the White House up, or he does not rather light the White House up in the colors of the rainbow, or the color of the rainbow is to represent the gay rights and gay pride, is Obama did. So he has made himself an enemy, in my opinion, ultimately to the LGBTQ community. And it is time now that Sleepy Joe and his Tricks Rabbit finally beat this orange fascist bastard. It's time we put this Nazi out of the White House and out on his damn ear. And it's time that we, like the proverbial Satan, finally overthrow this fucking tyrannical fuck that he is. And he has proven himself to be an enemy to the people. He has proven himself to be an enemy to protesters who have, when he threatened to call in the National Guard, and he even scared people on the right, and as far right as Pat Robertson, who condemned what he was doing. He is the enemy of the United States. He has become the enemy of the Constitution, an enemy of the people, and an enemy of the people. And it is time that he is thrown out of the White House. And I'm no fan of Joe Biden, but if he can get the fucking job done, then let him. Beyond that, I guess if I were to talk about wrestling, I thought I would say something about wrestling because I want to. I had watched earlier today that I had posted to my Twitter page, by the way, where I talk about much of this, and this is where I got much of this information was from Twitter. My Twitter page is Humanist Philosophies, where I post about much of this stuff. If you are interested, I would like to see you go there. And again, that's PH Philosophy, PHILO. Basically, it ends with IES. It's philosophy, but IES, philosophies. I think that's the correct spelling. Or anyways, that's how I spelled it. Or Humanist Philos, at Humanist Philos, whatever. The point is, just try to find me in a fucking Twitter. Just look up Humanist. I'll probably be posting something at some point, and I'm sure you'll find it. The point is, and look up latest and look up Humanist. I'll be there somewhere probably. Anyways, and I'm sure you'll know it's me because who the hell could mistake my very eccentric and I'm sure so wonderful personality, but you'll find me. Anyways, I was looking up Edge and Leader, the Live Sex Celebration, and I was also looking up their Redding and Kane coming through the ring and choke slamming or tombstoning the priest, and Matt Hardy, the stuff with Edge and Leader and Kane and Edge and Leader and Matt Hardy, and the Live Sex Celebration and all the stuff that they were doing there. And I was just thinking, I wonder why was a show that knew what it was and knew who its market was, that was a soap opera that was geared towards men, that featured drama, action, comedy, in some cases even horror movie things, and was also about sex and of course violence because it is a fictional fighting show. It knew its audience and it appealed to that audience. Gee, I wonder why they got 8 million viewers back then and now they get 2 million when they're trying to be a fictional sport that they're not and never have been, and people laugh at it and think it's stupid, and they're hiring UFC fighters when everyone knows it's fake anyways, and no one wants to see a UFC fighter in a fake fight because they've already fought for real. And when they're bashing people over the head with the political correctness and feminism and cramming it up our ass. Gee, I wonder why no one wants to watch that. And by the way, you want to talk about women's rights and feminism, WWE, and I'm surprised you didn't do more of a women's month, all that shit, and I didn't hear much about it this year, luckily. But while we're at it, by the way, let me just say, why don't you ever have any transgender women in the women's division? And why haven't you had a transgender champion? AEW did. You could easily have a transgender woman champion. Because if you want to help transgender women, then shouldn't you want to help all of them, or are you like J.K. Rowling, who now tries to bring up the fact that they randomly, by the way, just like they start talking about flags and statues instead of the cop beating up the black guy, they want to talk about anything but the issue at hand and distract people and divide up the population. So then when she's bashing transgender people, they try to and she gives some kind of bizarre apology talking about gender dysphoria or whatever. But anyways, something that I have, by the way, but the point is, when they start talking about an interview that her supposed former first husband had that came out of nowhere, by the way, he suddenly reappears, whatever, and they want to talk about him talking about hitting her and saying she deserved it. Okay, well, was he transgender? And if not, then what in the fuck does that have to do with her bashing transgender people? Other than perhaps because you're trying to distract from the attention from what she said and her anti-transgender and transphobic comments. Because again, that's what they do. They distract and divide. And they want a collective that fits their agenda, and it's usually a corporate capitalist agenda. And they know very well what they're doing. And feminism, for whatever reason, is, by the way, and they don't want the races united, they don't want the genders united. And also, by the way, feminism specifically, for whatever reason, is, by the way, very conducive to a capitalist agenda. And that is their agenda, and they're basically fascist. And that is all. T666.